Should we be worried, do you think, about this potential push to a singular online ID card?
I think there's a lot of concerns that we've been talking about for a long time. You know, the idea that on the one hand, you have to show me your papers wherever you go to get in. And then at the same time, that if you don't do certain things, if you don't put the right refuse in the right box, or if you perhaps use a car too much, or if you perhaps say the wrong thing on social media, well, we know people are now going straight to prison for that. But the whole idea that you're digitally tracked, surveyed, and we have a kind of social credit system is a big concern. Now, there are safety measures that can be put in. Their argument with this is that you don't get to see the address and it's separated. But we should remember that the bid has gone out to Fujitsu. This student card's already there. Now, you can use a physical card, but Fujitsu was the company that was actually involved with the post office scandal, with the data breach. So data breaches, or, you know, the abuse of those things, human error, but also willfully covering things up. We should remember, Patrick, as well, that the last few years we've had revelations about spies, about censorship, and a range of things like that. So as the push to digital ID increases, and as the push towards central bank digital currency increases, this is something that we're saying we need to be able to slow down. We should not have mandatory impositions of it. And it's a concern that's just generalised across society.
Yeah, it's interesting because, look, hey, at the moment, the government are ruling out a lot of the concerns that you're raising here. But there's a very credible case for the slippery slope argument, Alan, and I know a lot of our viewers and listeners will agree with you on that. There is another aspect to this for me, which I do think is important, which is that it's another way of maybe disenfranchising the elderly. I mean, I can't imagine a situation, really, where my grandma, bless her, who tries her best, she's in her mid-80s, would go out somewhere and say, oh, have you got your digital ID? And she'd have to go open a handbag and get her phone out and try and do... Maybe a nightmare. It's also quite dangerous for her as well, because it's like a mugger's dream, really, that situation. You know, this is another aspect about it, I think. It's not particularly good for old people.
It's a big impact for old people, not just mobile phones, but also the internet online generally, right? It's very, very difficult. I know that it's the same with my mum. She has to go into the bank. I sometimes go with her. There's a whole range of issues in terms of how you do things. I mean, everyone's getting their phone stolen. That's the other thing. But there's also all sorts of things happening, right? There's a reason why hacking and data breaches and all of those concerns, they happen regularly, right? We see them consistently. There's also a case of ongoing fraud and a number of issues like that. I mean, the thing is, in a way, it's a technocrat's dream that you have everything seamlessly done. Look, technology is fantastic. At Together, we're not Luddites. We love the harnessing of technology and innovation. In fact, we need much more of that in society. But the question is where the relationship to the state and surveillance and scrutiny and all of those things come in. And that's of significant concern. We've seen in the arena of bars and clubs so much impositions around licensing and around the public, ever increasing security, as though somehow the public are all to be feared. So it's a problem for older people. It's a problem for everyone in society. And we're saying people should get involved with Together to challenge that a bit more.
All right, mate. Good stuff. Thank you very much, Alan. All the best. You take care. Thank you very much for coming on the show this evening.